The characters in Marvel's Shang-Chi definitely know how to accessorize, because these rings, and of course the power they can give you, are really awesome. Changing from blue to orange, they can match any outfit. Before we get started, be sure to check out the description below for any supplies you'll need. Now going through the basics and some advanced ways of making any cosplay, we'll show you how to make these interchangeable color rings. So let's get cracking. The first thing you have to do is make or find your template. If you're sizing the rings to your own arm, you'll have to make your own. Take measuring tape and find the width of your arm. In Photoshop or any similar program, create an inner circle that spans that size. Duplicate it and make the outer circle 1.75 inches bigger, or however much you need to make it to fit the battery holder you're using. Do this for 5 points on your arm for the 5 rings. Once you get those cut out, measure the radius. On a piece of 6mm EVA foam, place the compass in the center of your circle, and the pencil on the inner circle's outline. Draw out the inner circle. Then, do the same for the outer circle. Make 2 of each different size circles for both arms. You'll end up with 10 total. With an X-Acto knife, cut each out. To get rid of any rough edges and to give this a more rounded look, use a Dremel. Dremels are really great when it comes to shaping your foam. So for this, I held the Dremel at an angle along the inner and outer edges and sanded them down. For the inscriptions that you see on the top and bottom of the rings, I use this little wrench that comes with the Dremel to etch them in. But you can use whatever metal piece you can find. Take your metal piece and etch on some writing on one side of each circle. After you're done, take a hairdryer or heat gun and heat up all of the foam. This heat treatment makes the foam stronger because it helps close the surface cells. Now for the inner band, take measuring tape and wrap it around your arm. Measure out 2 strips for each of the 5 rings on 4mm EVA foam. The length should be what the measuring tape says, and for my height, I did 1.75 inches. Depending on the size of your battery holder and lights, you can go a little smaller, but not much. Cut these out and heat treat them. With all the pieces, it's time to glue. I like to use a little piece of foam to apply the barge cement glue. Put a thin layer of glue on the piece itself and where it'll be sticking to. So put some on one edge of your band and then the inner edge of your circle. Use a hairdryer or heat gun to semi-dry the glue. Then attach your pieces. But be careful, once it's together, you won't be able to easily pull it apart. After that, put glue on the other edge of the band and on the inner edge of another circle. Make sure the inscription side points out. Then, you should have something that looks similar to a sewing bobbin. Do this for all 10 rings. Now to prep the rings for painting, we'll need to use Plasti-Dip. Plasti-Dip helps harden the foam so that the paint doesn't get absorbed into it. It basically gives it a base coat. I used black Plasti-Dip because the rings are metal and I wanted it to look a little worn. It'll take about a half an hour for the one coat to dry. After that, it's time to paint. Take a soft tip paintbrush and apply 1 coat of champagne gold metallic acrylic paint. Usually, for pieces that bend, you want to use acrylic paint over spray paint to prevent cracking. To seal the paint, take some Pledge floor cleaner and apply 1 light layer to the rings. Sometimes too much floor cleaner could produce bubbles, so make sure you brush them away so that they don't dry on. While waiting for everything to dry, I worked on the inscriptions that are on the side of the rings. For these, I basically used the same measurements from the bands I made before. The only thing I did was extend it a whole lot so that I could cut it to size later. So trace those out again on 2mm EVA foam. With an X-Acto knife, cut out inscriptions in the center of your strip. I ended up cutting the tops and bottoms of the strip a little bit to fit it within the ring, so keep that in mind when cutting out your writing. You'll need 2 of these inscription strips for each sized ring. When you're done, Plasti-Dip, paint, and seal them. Using whatever color PVC sheet, cut out strips that fit these inscription strips. To soften the lights, I used a sanding block to sand the PVC sheets before cutting. Glue the foam and PVC sheet strip together. Now, back to our bobbin looking ring. With adding lights, you'll need a 12-volt battery, battery holder, self-lock push-button switch, and flexible LED light strips. The color of the light depends on if you want to have an interchangeable color ring or not. Use white if you do. Solder the black wire from the battery holder to the switch. Then, solder the red wire to the top dot on the edge of the LED strip. For the other side of the strip, solder the bottom dot on the edge to the switch. Then, test it by pushing the button on and off. Do this for all 10 rings. After everything is wired, hot glue the switch and battery holder to the bottom ring. To add the last detail, take the inscription strip and wrap it around your ring. Cut it out so that it's tight between the top and bottom of the ring. Then, cut off any excess at the end. Being able to take this inscription strip out is helpful when it comes to changing out the color. You can make a set of orange strips to switch out the blue. For the smallest ring, it obviously won't slip through your wrist. What I ended up doing was cutting it in between my switch and battery pack. Then, I extended the wire between the switch and battery pack so that I could open it wide enough to put on. To hold it together, you can use a staple-shaped pin on the top and bottom of the ring. Then you're ready to go fight the soul-eating dweller in darkness and save the world. And maybe even get a call from the Avengers themselves. Just for tiny people like me, I think they should change the title to Legend of the 8 Rings, because I definitely cannot fit a 5th ring on my arm. And they kinda slip because I was sizing them for both Jess and me to wear, but yours should be fine because you're sizing them for your own arm and no one else. But if this video helped with your cosplay, be sure to give us a like, and if you're looking to learn how to make other cosplays or learn something entirely new, check out our how-to hub and subscribe. Your next project might be right here. Well, I gotta make some orange strips to change out with these blue ones, so I'll catch you guys later.